Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute little chicken. It is what I consider a no-sew body pattern, which means we are going to start by making the wings, and then we're going to make the legs, and then we're going to move on to the top of the head, work our way down, attach the wings as we go, work on the body, add the eyes, add the legs, stuff and clothes. And then we will have to sew on the little beak and the comb and then whatever embroidery that we end up doing. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you. And I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. Okay, we are going to begin with the wing, and you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making a knot with a loop on the end as if I was making a chain. I insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up, and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 9. So 1 single crochet for 1, 1 increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. Single crochet, 4, increase, 5 and 6, single crochet, 7, increase, 8 and 9. Row 3, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet for 1, 2 single crochets for 2, and an increase for 3 and 4. And then repeat that around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8. Again, 9, 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 4, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 15. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4, and 5. And repeat that again. 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, repeat, 11, 12, 13, and our last increase, 14 and 15. Row 6, we're going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 7, 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 8, 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 9, 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 10, 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 11, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that around for a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. Row 12, we are going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 13, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that around for a total of 9. 1, 2, decrease for 3, 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, and our last decrease for 9. And now we're going to take our stitch marker out because we're going to close this up. Oh. We're going to fold it in half. We're going to go in the very next stitch on the front, and then we're going to go in the very last stitch on the back. It's going to look like this. Make sure you're underneath both of the V's on each side. And we're going to do 4 single crochets across. 1 through the front and the back, 2 through the front and the back, 3, and then we're just going to catch this little piece on the end for 4. And then we're going to tie that off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail. Even though we're not sewing these on, I do something with the strings at the end to kind of secure them so they're not flopping around. Now, if you have just finished your first wing, I will be putting a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second wing. And if you have finished your second wing, just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, we're going to be starting the foot now, and we're going to begin with the toes. You're going to need 3 toes for each foot. They are going to be really tiny, and believe me, I will be thinking the exact same thing you are as we're making them, but I promise you it is definitely worth it in the end. We'll go nice and slow. We'll do all 3 toes, and then we'll move on to the foot. So you should be able to start any way you prefer. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch. That's just attaching our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over the top of the tail, we're going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pull your tail if you need to close that hole. Row 2, we are going to do 4 single crochets all the way around. Make sure you're going in the right stitches and that your toe is curling towards you. So there's 1 single crochet, and then I'm just going to bend that up so that's like this, so it's facing the right way. Over into that next stitch. 2, 3, 4. And row 3, 4 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Tie that off. Leave a little bit of a tail. When we sew these on, usually there is a hole when we no sew these on. Somehow I happened to luck out and I didn't have a hole, but if you end up with holes between your toes, we'll use this tail to sew them the hole closed. Then we're just going to tuck that first beginning tail in to our toe. All right, toe 2, make your loop or magic ring or chain, however you start. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember that does not count as a stitch, that's just attaching our yarn to our loop, and row 1, 4 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 2, 4 single crochets all the way around. Make sure your toe is starting to come towards you as you're going around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and row 3, 4 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do your slip stitch in the next stitch, leaving a little bit of a tail for later if you need it. And tuck your little end tail into your toe. Make sure you're not wrecking your stitches as you do this, because you're going to need those stitches to attach. So 3. Do your magic ring or chain or slip knot or however you like to start. I'm doing my knot with the loop on the end. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1, remembering that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over the tail, 4 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that tail if you need to. Row 2, 4 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and row 3, 4 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then slip stitch in that next stitch to tie that off, leaving a little bit of a tail. Whoop. And then we're just going to tuck that beginning tail in. This is basically what I'm using for stuffing. We aren't going to be stuffing these. And then we'll just put those to the side for later. And don't worry if they look funny or strange or aren't all even. It kind of works out when you add them on. All right, and now we're going to start the beginning of the leg, or foot, I guess. And again, you can begin any way you prefer, as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end, as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up, and chain 1. Remembering that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we're going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we're going to start off with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do 6 increases. So 1 increase, 2 increases, 3 increases, 4 increases, 5 increases, 6 increases. And then we should have 3 single crochets to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3 for a total of 18 stitches. All right, our next row we're going to be adding the toes. You may want to watch it once over so you can kind of see what I'm doing in case I'm not explaining it well as we do it, and then come back and start, or at least watch the first toe get done. So we're going to start with 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now grab your first toe, and we're going to be going inside the toe. So we're going to go in and out that way because this is the bottom of our toe, so we want it to be attached here. And then when we do the next row, we're going to be going in the top stitches of the toe. So what I do is I find my tie-off knot, and I go 2 stitches over. So here's my knot, here's 1 stitch, here's my second stitch. So I'm going to go into that second stitch from my tie-off knot, inside the toe to the outside. And then I'm going to go in the next stitch of my foot. So that's once. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the next stitch. So I'm inside the toe, coming out the back, and then going into the next stitch of my foot. And then I'm just going to let this hang down in case I need it later. Then I'm going to go in the next stitch and do 1 single crochet. So that's attaching our first foot. Here's what the bottom of the foot will look like. Here's what the inside of the foot is going to be looking like. Now grab your next toe. Whoops. So I'm moving my knot over to the side. And then I'm going to count over 2 stitches. So 1, 2. So I'm going in this stitch right here from the inside to the outside, and then into the next stitch of the foot. So that's 1 stitch in the toe. Then I'm going to move over and go to the next stitch inside the toe and out the back, and then into the next stitch of the foot. Again, leave that string down. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch of the foot. Grab your last toe, hold it so you're in the right position with your string over to the side where you tie it off. And again, there's your knot, there's your first stitch, there's your second stitch. We're going to go inside the toe and out that second stitch from our knot. And in the next stitch of our foot. Then into that other stitch in the toe, into the toe and out the back. And then into the next stitch of the foot. I apologize if that was hard to see if my hands were in the way, but I've already done this 4 times. So I'm running with this version. And then we should have 5 single crochets left. And if you're not sure where to start, so here's where our last stitch was. Here's our first stitch, or our next stitch, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's a look at the bottom of your foot. Here's a look at the inside of your foot. And then let's get ready for our next row. The next row is the last hard one, and then the rest is going to be a breeze. All right, row 5. We are going to start off with 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to go into our toe, and we want to go on the top side that we left. I want to go in this first stitch here, and I want to go in the stitch underneath my knot. So this one and this one. So this is the stitch we've already been in right here. And if you get it wrong, don't worry. That's why we're leaving these strings. We can sew up any holes left behind. So 1 in the toe, and then 2 in the toe underneath your tie-off knot. And then you're going to go in the next stitch. So you'll be able to tell because you'll be able to see the nice clear V of that stitch, and you're going to go in the stitch just behind it. So top of there, right behind. So there's your V, and then into that top. That's 1 single crochet. And now you're going to go into your next toe, and remember you want your second stitch to be under the knot, so you're just going to go 1 stitch over, 1 single crochet in the toe, and a second single crochet under the knot where you tied off. Then find that V in the middle, and you're going to go in that stitch right behind it, 1 single crochet. And now our last toe, find where your knot was tied off. So we're going to be going in this hole right here, go back 1, and this is the stitch we're going to start in. So 1 single crochet, and our second single crochet under our tie-off knot. 2. And then we should have 5 single crochets left, and again look for your first V, and that will be just behind there will be your first stitch. So there's my first full V, right behind there, 5 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there's the back of our foot again. There's the top of our foot. And then just have a look and see if you have any holes in between. So I got lucky and went in all the right stitches, so I don't have any holes. But if you do, you'll take these ends, and then you just weave in and around to close up those holes. All right, row 6, we are going to start with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do 6 invisible crochets, and if you've never done one, what you're going to do is you're going to be grabbing the front 2 loops. So you've got your V here. So you're going to come down, grab the front loop, grab the front loop of the next one, and then finish it off. So up through that V, up through the V of the second stitch, grab your yarn, go through those 2 front loops on your hook, grab your yarn again, and go through the last 2 loops on your hook. So I'll do that one more time, a little slower. So front loop, grab your yarn, pull through those 2 front loops, grab your yarn again, and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. So that's 2. Another invisible decrease. That's 3. Invisible decrease. Oop, I went under both there. Make sure you're just catching the front loops. That's 4. Invisible decrease. That's 5. Invisible decrease. That's 6. And then you should have 3 single crochets to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, for a total of 12. And I'm just going to cut my strings here so they're not in my way any longer. All right, rows 7 to 14, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do those consecutively. So that's 8 rows. 8 times 12 is 96. So I'm going to do 96 single crochets and then just flip my marker every time I hit a set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, flip my marker but keep on counting, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Flipping my marker, keep on counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting, oops, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. All right. I'm going to take out our stitch marker now, and we're going to stuff our little leg, so get that ready. All right, so just grab a fair size amount, just a little more than a fistful maybe, and we're just going to tuck that down into the bottom of the foot. We're not stuffing the toes. And just down inside, right to the bottom. Up to you if you want it to kind of curve a bit here or be flat. If you want it flat, just use the palm of your hand a little more and don't push it down quite as far. And we want to stuff it till we're just about at the top, maybe a row or two not stuffed, fairly firm. And then when you're happy with how much stuffing is in there, you're going to get your hook back in. And then when we close, just like we did the wings, you're going to go in the next stitch. And then you're going to come over into this last stitch. And we're going to do 5 single crochets across. So 1, through the front and the back, 2, through the front and the back, 3, through the front and the back, 4, and the last one, 5. And then you're going to tie that off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail, but all we're doing is tying these on the inside, so you just need a small amount. Alright, so if you have finished your first little leg, I will be leaving a screenshot with a timestamp in the next frame, so you can go back and do your second leg. And then if you're done your second leg, just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. Alright, now we're going to start at the top of the head, and again, you can begin any way you prefer. As long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up, and chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 18. 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and, 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 6, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and our last increase, 35 and 36. Row 7, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, whoopsie, so that's still 40, and an increase, 41 and 42. Row 8, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness, I'm having a problem here with this yarn. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 9, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 10, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 11, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 12, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 13, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 14, 32 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 15, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decrease, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, decrease for 36. Row 16, we are going to be doing 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, decrease for 30. Row 17, 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, decrease for 24. Row 18, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, decrease for 3, 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Okay, we're going to add the arms, or sorry, the wings now. So grab those and get those ready. And I'm just going to change my camera view so you can see a little better, and I will meet you right back. Okay, row 19, we are going to do 3 single crochets to start. So 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to grab one of your wings, and remembering that where your stitch marker is the back of your work. You want to have your strings facing the front, and we're going to do 4 single crochets through the wing and through the head. So through the wing, through the next stitch of the head, that's 1, through the wing, through the next stitch of the head, that's 2, through the wing, through the next stitch of the head, that's 3, and through the wing, and the next stitch of the head, that's 4. Then we're going to do 4 single crochets across. So make sure you're starting in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now grab your other wing, and again make sure that the strings are facing the front and not the back. And we're going to do 4 single crochets through the wing and through the head. So into the wing, into the next stitch of the head, that's 1, through the wing, into the next stitch of the head, that's 2, through the wing, through the next stitch of the head, that's 3, and through the wing, and the next stitch of the head, that's 4. And then we should have 3 single crochets left to finish off the row for a total of 18. So 1, 2, 3. Row 20, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8. And as you're going around and you get to the wing strings, remember to keep them on the outside because that's where we'll need them for later. 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 21, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 22, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 23, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, oopsie, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and an increase, 35 and 36. Row 24, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 25, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 26, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 27, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 28, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 29, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. All right, let's stop here now. Let's add our eyes. So what you're going to want to do is center your little guy using the wings. Put your head and body on the flat side. Get your eyes ready. Okay. So once you have them nice and flat and centered, you're going to find your first row. So that's your starting loop or magic ring or however you started. That's row 1, and we're going to count down to between rows 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just in between rows 9 and 10. I'm just finding the row right now. And then I'm going to find my center stitch by lining up the center of my loop with the center of my arms. So right about there. And I'm pretty close. I'm just going to come one over so I'm in a stitch. So I'm actually in a stitch, and then I have a hole on each side that I'm going to count as my first hole when I put my eyes in. So grab an eye. You're going to go just on the other side of your pin, and you're going to count over 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to go in that 4th hole, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So that's a hole right beside your pin. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 4th hole. Then just have a look. Make sure you're still happy with where you've centered your eyes. And I just kind of use my wings or the knots here and just kind of go up. And I'm just kind of on the outside of that eye, so I'm okay. Here's a little trick if you're having a hard time. Stick your thumb onto your eye, and you're going to push it up and out through your neck hole, and that'll give you nice access to that post so you can put your back on. And then we'll do the same thing to the other eye. Thumb on the eye, push your thumb up and out through the neck, giving you good access to that post, and then put your back on. And there you go. Hi friends, I hope you've been enjoying crocheting your chicken with me. I'm just popping in here again because I forgot to start stuffing until after I added the legs. So if you need to stuff as you go, you're going to want to start doing that now. All right, let's put our hook back in. And now for row 30, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, decrease, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, decrease, 4, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease, 4, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 31, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. All right, we're going to add the legs now, so get your legs ready. Oh, I don't know why I took the hook out. And we are going to start by doing 8 single crochets across, and remember, if you're left-handed, you may be doing this row backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that should bring you to your first wing, just right in the middle, halfway between. And now we're going to grab one of your legs, and you want to make sure that the little toes are facing the body because he's upside down. And we're going to do 5 single crochets through the leg and through the body. So through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, that's 1, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body. So we've got 3 now. Through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, that's 4. And through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 5. Then we're going to take our strings, our tails from our legs, and stick them to the inside. And now we're going to do 2 single crochets across. Make sure you go in the next stitch because it's really easy to go in the same one. 1, 2. Now you're going to grab your other leg again. Make sure the toes are facing the body and the head. And you're going to do 5 single crochets through the leg and through the next stitch of the body. So that's 1, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, that's 2, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, that's 3, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, that's 4, and through the leg and the next stitch of the body. Flip that leg tail to the inside, and then you should have 4 single crochets left unless you had to adjust on this side, and it'll be whatever adds to 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 4. So I had 8 on this side, I have 4 on this side. All right, we only have a couple rows left, so we better add our stuffing now. And I don't know why, second time I forgot to add after we did the eyes. So again, I'm gonna have to put a little note after we add the eyes if you need to stuff the head earlier, so you can catch that. So let's tie these legs together first. So we have a couple less strings to deal with here. So we're just going to tie them nice and loosely against the edge of our body. We don't want to tie them too tight because then our legs are going to squish up like that. And then we'll just give them a cut. Grab your stuffing. I like, if you haven't done the neck yet, I like to hold around the neck as I'm stuffing the head, and then that kind of helps to not stretch those stitches. I find that's, for me anyway, where I stretch the stitches the most when I'm stuffing, is right around the neck going up towards the head. We want to get that nice and firm, so if you already stuffed your head, make sure the head is firm. It's amazing how much stuffing you actually end up putting up in there. And as you're going around, make sure it's not lopsided and it's coming into kind of a round shape. And, oh, that is lopsided. And then at the very end, when I'm done, I just kind of feel around for a hole. So usually I have a hole right here or at the sides. So I'm just gonna use my fingers to push it up wherever it feels like there's a lot of give. Now my stitches are starting to spread a bit, so I've got more than enough in there now. So I'm just going to make sure I got it shaped how I want it. before I go any further. Sometimes you got to pull the eyes out and move those posts because you push them up at an angle. I think that's pretty good. And then I'm just gonna, I'll show you in here first. So when I do the neck, the head, I don't stuff into the neck. So I just stuff like right to the neck. So I'm right here on the inside. And then when I do the body, I just push the stuffing against the big block of stuffing I have in the head. Since I usually only ever go down to 18 stitches in the neck, you don't have to worry about wobbling. So I'm not too concerned about the having stuffing in there. Okay. That's good enough for me. There are only 3 rows left, so if you need to add more stuffing or stuff as you go, do that. Let's get our hook back in. And for row 33, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. And try not to catch your stuffing as you're going around. 1, 2, decrease, 4, 3, 4, 5, decrease, 4, 6, 7, 8, decrease, 4, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, and our last decrease. Oh, I got stuffing on my thread somehow. For 18. Row 34, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 and a decrease for 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of stuffing here. What I like to do is push it out to the sides and kind of make a well in the middle, and then I just stuff my stuffing down inside the middle. Make sure you want to have the bottom flat and not rounded. I think that's probably enough. Maybe a little bit more. Also, if you kind of push the butt out a bit to the back, that will help him stand up or sit down and not fall over. So it's kind of an oval shape I'm going for. All right, that is lots. And for row 35, we're just going to do 6 decreases all the way around. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, and 6 decreases. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. I really didn't do a good job staying out of my stuffing here, but it's not too noticeable. And then tie that off, leaving a little bit of a tail so we can close this hole up. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. I don't need that anymore. All right, grab your darning needle. We'll thread that tail on. And all we're going to do is weave in and out of these top loops of our last row. Oh, I like to go down the inside first and then go around. And if you are making this out of plush yarn, try going halfway around, pulling it tight, and then going the rest of the way around. And if you have trouble with your yarn breaking, that might help you out a little bit. And then I'm just going to tie a knot in the next stitch. Sorry, my hands were a bit in the way on that one. Then I'm just going to come down in the center and out the back somewhere. It'll let me. There we go. And I give that a good pull so that knot we just tied can go onto the inside, and then it also does kind of flatten out the bottom a bit too. Give that a cut. And then let's deal with these arm strings now. So I'm just threading on one of my wings, wingtails. It doesn't matter which one because we do them exactly the same. And you're going to find where it meets the neck. You'll have your knot here where you tied off. And you're going to go into that hole right there beside it. And you're going to come out the center of the back of the neck somewhere. Then you're going to take the other string and do the same thing. Throw that on your needle. Find where your last stitch of your wing was, where the knot is, and your last stitch. Go right in that hole. And then you're going to come out in the same spot that your other string came out. And you're going to want to keep track of which string goes to what wing. See, that stuffing is just horrible. Huh. Oh, I haven't mentioned it yet probably, but every once in a while one of my packs of stuffing is really strange and I can't even hardly get my needle through it. I've never had the stuffing come out of my thread before though. Okay, so now you're going to tie one knot nice and light. Wrap those around the neck and spin your little guy around. Now we're going to pull these strings so that our knots come to the inside and our wings kind of move forward. Just give it a nice little pull till you're happy with where they're sitting. And then we're going to tie that a little better. And rethread those ends in and hide them on the inside. Just anywhere out the back. Oh, I had it and now there it is. Give it a good pull and then we'll cut those off. All right, now we're going to do the beak. And again, you can start any way you prefer, as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing my knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up and chain 1, remembering that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail if you need to close that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 9. And remember, you want it kind of curving towards you as you go around. So 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9. In row 3, we're going to do 9 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, I caught my stitch marker. Don't need it anymore anyway. So I'm still doing my 9th stitch, and then slip a stitch into the next stitch and tie that off, leaving yourself enough of a tail to tie that on or sew that on. And now let's grab our pins and we'll put our nose on our little guy. I'm going to just add a tiny little bit of stuffing in there just so it holds its shape. way too much. So you just want it to be flat, even with the base of your nose. Then I'm just going to place it just one row down from where we added our eyes. So we added our eyes on this row right here between rows 9 and 10. So I'm just one row down. And I'm going to grab my pins, make sure it's centered. I'm going to put one pin right in that row. And I'm making sure that my string is on the bottom so that if we make any kind of tying errors, it's a little bit hidden. I'm going to put one on the bottom. I'm just letting it go wherever it sits naturally now. So I'm putting mine in a bit of a circle. You can put yours whatever shape you want. Maybe you want it wide or maybe you want it narrow. I like having it nice and round. You may need to pull it out on some spots like I just did there. And then before you start sewing, just double check that you have it where you want it. For me, the worst part is right here. If I'm going to get it crooked, that's where I get it crooked. I'm either a little closer or further away right there. All right, let's thread that on now. And to begin, we are going to go underneath, right where our knot is, underneath the nose, around the head, and then come out. I don't want to go too far. There we go. You want to be keeping all your stitches underneath the nose, and then you won't see them. And then we're going to come up in the next stitch. This is where my slip stitch is. So it's just a tiny little stitch. Then we're going to go down the next stitch, around the stitch of the head, come out, and then up the next stitch. And we're just going to continue around like that. And while I'm doing mine, I am going to remind you guys, if you ever want to share something with me that you've made, you can visit my craft page. I have a link down in the description. I think it's usually the very first thing there. You don't have to join my page or anything. You can just go in, find a post, and then comment or send a photo there. So see, this is where I usually have a problem, so I just want to make sure I'm going about the same spot on each side. Maybe one other thing I'll mention while I'm doing this is I really struggled with these birds. So I just did the chick the other day, uploaded, and then now I'm doing the chicken, and then I have a duck I'm going to do. And when I was doing it, I've never had this problem before, but the thickness of my thread or my yarn really seemed to make a difference. Like when I first started the wings, I was using a thinner number 4. Exact same brand, everything the same except for the color, and my wings were turning. I had 21 stitches for a wing to be this wide, and then when I went to do a different bird, 21 stitches was twice as big. So if you are doing one of these, make sure that your yarn for your beak and legs is the same as your body. Like right now, you'll notice my light brown is quite a bit thinner than my darker brown, and I can really notice it's not quite the proportions that I did the other ones in. So my nose seems a little small and my legs seem a little small. All right, I'm getting close to the end here. I think this is my knot right in here. So I'm just going to come up. Usually there's a little space here, but I'm not seeing it too bad from going in the round. I'm just going to come over. There might be a space right there, so I'm just going to come over a bit. I'm grabbing a piece of the nose here and I'm bringing it over. I'm not going in the head, just to close that gap a bit. And then I'm going to come down, find one of my stitches that I just sewed. So I'm not taking a nose stitch and I'm not taking a head stitch. That's one of my little stitches from sewing around the beak. And then I'm just going to tie my knot. And then take that down underneath the nose, into the head and out the back somewhere. And I give it a good tug and then I fix the head afterwards. So if I smush the head by doing that, I'll just fix it with my needle. Just be careful if you're using a plastic hook when you're doing this, because they do break quite easily. All right, now you're gonna get a piece of yarn that matches your base color or your head color. We'll thread that on. It's probably about 12 inches long, maybe a little longer. And we are going to start by going in the center between the two eyes. And we're going to come up on the inside middle of the eye. Now I'm going to be going around my eye so I can catch the post instead of stretching the stitches when I do this. But if you made your own eyes, you'll just skip going around the eye and you'll just go down one row. So I'm going to go around this eye. So I went in there. I'm going to come in one row down now. And I'm going to go all the way over to the other side and match that. The bottom inside of both eyes. Bring that through. And again, I'm wrapping around my safety eye here. And if you're not going around an eye, you went in here. So right now you're going to go up one row and come in here, right on the inside of the eye that matched this first stitch. So down and then out where you started. Okay. Now I just want to make sure I know which string goes to what eye here. So that goes to this one and this goes to this one. So I'm going to give them one tie. And then I'm going to push down and together and tighten this knot at the same time. So you kind of need a few hands, it feels like, but just take your time till they're where you want it. And do be careful. If you get them too close, they will look cross-eyed if you put the accents on the sides. So I think that's good. So I'm going to secure that knot now. And then we'll put the strings into the other side. So into that same hole and then out the back. Give it a good pull. And then you'll come in and fix these stitches a little bit if you made a hole. All right, now you're going to grab some white, about the same amount as you just had for your brown when you did brought the eyes in a bit. So thread that on. And we are going to start on the outside of the eye this time. And if you happen to have a big hole right there, catch a little piece of a stitch. Otherwise, your yarn might go inside under the eye. So I'm just going to go all the way to the other side. I'm going to catch a bit of a stitch there if I can. And then you're going to pull about half your yarn through and leave half on the other side. You may have to keep fiddling with your eyes a bit. And then we're going to come, you can either go up and around, or you can come down and around. I have been going down on the bird, so I'm going to just keep going down. Just be careful if you end up going on the sides of the eye. That is when it'll be cross-eyed looking. So I'm just going to come in here, catching a stitch again, and then coming out in the center somewhere. Doesn't matter which row, as long as you're in the center. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other piece. So thread that on. And you're just going to match that in the same spot as you went in on this side, and then come up to the place where you started, or ended, I guess. So up, pull these gently, because also that could cause them to go under the eye. And then I'm going to just lightly tie this, so I'm not pulling them too tight. Just enough so they stay where they are. And then we're going to put those through the back. So in that same hole, and then out the back somewhere. I'm cheating a bit because I can't go through this stuffing very good. And I just pulled that gently till the knot went through. I'm going to gently pull this off. Fix these stitches if I need to. And cut that off. I forgot to cut the other one off, so I'll do that at the same time. And then if you end up having a little floof of yarn here, you just stick your hook in and then just swipe it across, and that should get rid of it. And then now we'll give them some little eyebrows. And if you have embroidery floss or thread, use that, but I never dig mine out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate one of the 4 strands of my of a piece of black. It works a lot better if you can get it between your knees and then pull it apart. So there I just have one little thin strand. I'll thread that on. This is a good thing to do for a mouth too. If you find your mouths don't look that great, try doing a thinner piece of thread like this, and it makes a huge difference if you're just doing a line for a mouth. Alright, so now you're just going to come up kind of on the inside of the eye 2 rows. So 1, 2. You're going to match that on that side. So insides of the eyes is my gauge. And then you're just going to kind of see where you want to have your eyebrows. Mine are going to go 2 rows down and 1 hole over. So this is where I have my eyebrow in to start. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then there's 1 hole on the one side of the eye, and then I'm going to go into the second hole. And I'm going to come up somewhere in the center of my eyebrows. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So with this darker color, I probably could have went thicker, but let's see how it looks. So I'm just threading on the other end now. And I'm going to do the same thing. So this is the row I started in. I'm going to go 1, 2 rows down. There's my hole on the outside of my eye. So 1 hole and into the second hole, and then come out where I started. And then just have a quick look that they're even before you commit to them. And if you're happy, then you're going to give it a tie. If they are uneven and there's not a lot of space to do something different, sometimes just pulling one tighter than the other helps too. So I'm just threading my ends back on, and then I'm going to put them out the back, and you're going to want to pull this really gently so you don't move your eyebrows around. So I'm pulling it all the way through, and then just watching, and as soon as I have that through, I'm going to stop pulling. I'm going to fix these stitches a bit and then cut that off. And then again, if that is in the way and you can still see it, just swipe it out and that'll get rid of it. It's starting to come together here now. All right, now we're going to make the little comb for the top of his head. We're going to be making a chain, but I want to leave a little bit of a tail just in case we need that for tying at the end. You can make yours any way you prefer or used to. What I like to do is I fold mine in half, then I grab the top of that loop, I wrap it around my fingers, bring that loop down and round and through to make a knot, and then I pinch that loop, and then I slide my knot up to determine whatever size I want the hole in that loop to be. And I like mine to be just a little bit bigger than my hook. So insert your hook, and we are going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now starting in this second chain from your hook, so not the one on your loop, or not the loop on your hook, here's your first chain, here's your second chain. We're going to do 8 single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we are going to turn it around. So we're working on the other side. We're not going to be chaining, and we're going to be going in this first stitch right here. And we're just going to do a slip stitch. Then we're going to do a half double crochet in that same stitch. And for a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over. You're going to go in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, leaving 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through all 3 of those loops. Then we're going to do a double crochet in the same stitch, so yarn over, insert in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up. And this time you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through the first 2 loops on your hook. Then you grab your yarn and go through the last 2 loops on your hook. And now we're going to do a half double crochet in that same stitch. So yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through all 3 loops on your hook. So that's one of our bumps, and then we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch. And we're going to do that set right there 3 more times. So we'll have a total of 4. So slip stitch in the next stitch, half double crochet in that same stitch, double crochet in that same stitch, half double crochet in that same stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So we've got 2. Start again, slip stitch in the next stitch, half double crochet in the same stitch, double crochet in the same stitch, half double crochet in the same stitch, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. So now we've got 3 bumps. We got 1 more to do. Slip stitch in the next stitch, half double crochet in that same stitch, double crochet in that same stitch, half double crochet in that same stitch, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. And then you're going to tie off. You may want to do another slip stitch just to hide this. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I did, just so my knot was lower down instead of up there. And then leave enough of a tail to sew that on. So it's going to look like this. We might as well do our little thing that hangs down off the beak too. So again, leave yourself a bit of a tail, tie your knot with the loop on the end, or however you like to start a chain. And then we're just going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then tie that off again, leaving a tail on this side as well, because we're going to use those tails to tie it on. Grab your darning needle here and let's just fix this up here. So what we're going to do, my focus isn't focusing. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take these ends and we're going to go up each side 3 stitches so that both our ends are in the center. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going in those top bumps, and then I'm going to pull that up. And you want to make sure you're not squishing that up together. You want it the same length. And do the same thing on the other side. So I was on this side, so I'm going to do this side again. Just 1, 2, 3. And you want to make sure you're coming out on the same side. So both mine are on this side. I'll just hold that a little better in a second once I get this pulled out. Hold it nice and tight. So see, both my ends are coming out on the same side. And then I'm just going to tie those in. I don't know what this kind of knot is called, but whoop, you want to make sure it's go down, go down, go down. Oh, good. Just like that. Okay, so let's sew the comb part on first. So we want our longer end to be in the front where we ended and tied off. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the center of the bumps right over top of the center beginning loop of the head. And then I'm going to give it a pin just right there. Then I'm going to just kind of straighten it using the nose between the eyes there. I'm going to hold that in place. And I'm going to stick a pin right there, so hopefully that stays straight. Then I'm just going to put a couple of pins. Maybe I'll try one in between, and then do the same thing in the back. Just kind of pull it to where it seems like it's straight. It's hard to, I just kind of lined it up between the two wings. And then again, put a pin right there, and then put one or two pins just to keep it in line. All right, so let's thread that on now. And all I'm going to be doing is going around a stitch in a row like this, and then through a stitch in the comb. So I'm going to go around the stitch. I can't tell if you're seeing this good. So around the stitch, I'm going to take that pin out so I can see what my stitching looks like as I'm going, and I'm just going to go in above the first chain there, and then pull that nice and tight. Then I'm going to go up one more row. So I was just in this row. I'm going to go up one more row. Make sure you're going around a stitch. I can see my line isn't quite straight with my stitches, so I'm just going to go over one, catching a stitch of the head there. I'm going to go into the next stitch. And you can put more or less depending on how comfortable you feel sewing stuff on. And I'm going around the next stitch, up one row. So I just went into that one, but I might go into that one again instead of stretching all the way over here, or we could go in between. Let's do that. We just don't want to see our stitches as much as we can help it. So then I'm going to go down around this next stitch in the row, through the next piece. I guess it's called a comb. Go around the next row, a stitch in the next row, go through the chain. I'm just going to do that all the way up. It's a little tricky when you get to the loop, so I'm just going to catch one of my stitches, go around, come up through the chain, do the same thing on the back side of that loop. Go through the chain. Just make sure you're always catching a stitch in the head and a stitch in the chain. So now I'm going down the rows of the back side. Now I haven't been checking if it's been staying straight, but do check once in a while. I also haven't been checking how my view is in here, so hopefully I haven't been putting my fingers in the way. All right, and then we're at the end here. You're just going to probably have to kind of fiddle around with how you want it. You can tie it right now, I guess, if you wanted. I'm kind of through a... How did I do that? Somehow I'm bit through a stitch there. So I'm just going to grab a piece a little bit higher, just so that end isn't floppy. And then I'm going to tie these two ends together. Now this works best if you have a hole right where you want to tie it. How come this light is so bad? So I have a hole right there. So I'm going to tie these two together, and then I'm going to bring that knot from where I started my chain down into the head, hopefully. Then you won't see it. So let's thread those on. And we're going to go down that hole, make sure you're in the right one. Actually, yep, that's it. We might not be able to hide that knot, but we're going to try our best to do it. So I'm just going to give it a pull best I can. I think I felt it pop in. Yep, it went in there. So it should look like this, and then we'll cut off this end. All right, now we're going to put this piece on, and I'm just going to tie it one more time on the other side, just because I don't want this to pull the edges up when I tighten any of my knots. This one was tricky for me, so I don't really know. It's kind of like it worked the first time, and then now I don't know what to do. So I'm going to give it 2 knots just so it doesn't slide around. Then we're going to thread one end on. And we're going to come down into one of these stitches. One yarn's going to go on one side of a stitch, and one is going to go on the other side. So just pick your stitch that you want to go in. Try and keep as close to the bottom as you can. So I'm in an actual stitch of the beak when I made the beak. And I'm going to come over in this one for the other. And I'm just going to leave it up there just so you can kind of tell where I'm going. And you want to go from the outside in like I am, or your knot's going to be on the wrong side. So I just went in that one. Now I'm going to go over one stitch and go down into the other one. So it's going to look like that. So when we tie it, we're tying onto something. So we're just going to tie our knot right there. So we can't see it. A couple of times. And then we're going to thread this back on. Just maybe double check that you don't need to like thread it through a few times. I'm happy with that, but if yours is hanging funny, you might want to use these ends to kind of secure it a little better. You just don't want to put this through and cut it off and then realize, oh, I could have used those ends to fix it a little bit. So I'm going to go down as close as I can to my beak and out the back somewhere. Give it a good pull, and then we'll cut that off. Aw, isn't she looking cute? I love how these guys end up looking at the very end. All right, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to give a big thank you to all of you that have been so kind to have hit the thanks button and sent me such generous donations. You'll now be listed at the end of all my next videos as my super thanks friends. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.